in this time of partisan strife, we are here to say there is broad agreement that we have to move forward in a bipartisan way with a robust transportation bill. We all know the advantages of such a bill. We know that we still need desperately to create construction jobs in the private sector. That's what a robust transportation bill will do. I've shown in the past, I don't want to take too much time, so I haven't done it today, a picture of the stadium. Do you have, actually, you don't have that. A picture of the Super Bowl stadium, and you could fill 20 of those stadiums with unemployed construction workers. So we know we have work to do. I'm very proud of Los Angeles for being such a leader in figuring out a way to leverage funds. Their initial name they gave to their program was 3010. And what we found out, and there's been a loan through TIFIA given to Los Angeles. The cost of the federal government, $20 million. The actual check from the TIFIA loan to the Crenshaw LAX Transit Corridor Project, $546 million. It is a very low risk. Why? Because, as Mayor Villaraigosa explained to me when he came to see me originally on this, which I guess is about 1.5 years or 2 years ago, that the TIFIA program or other programs like it can move forward with a big size loan because there's sales tax money behind it. According to the Federal Highway Administration, every dollar made available through TIFIA can mobilize a total of $30 in transportation investments. So you see, the low risk that the federal government faces, practically no risk, and it's a way to leverage funds. And we've already started that, and now the 3010 program is called America Fast Forward, and Mayor's going to go into it further. Let me switch gears now, and I'm going to turn it over to my counterpart in the House, Chairman of the Transportation Infrastructure Committee, Chairman Mica. I want to just give you a brief update, and we'll give him an update while I'm talking here as to where we are. Senator Inhofe and I are working very closely to come up with a bill that uses the funding in the Highway Trust Fund, looks at ways that we can agree on to make that fund larger, but really mostly we're focused on leveraging dollars. Here in the Senate, there are 3 ways to do it. TIFIA is the one that I think is the easiest one for us because it is already in the law, and we can expand it. It's ready to go. The administration likes it, and everyone across the aisle. Senator Inhofe likes it. I like it. We're ready to go. So TIFIA is one way. It could be a centerpiece of our leveraging effort. The second is infrastructure bank. We have a bipartisan bill. It's Kerry Hutchison to set up a infrastructure bank, which would be capitalized at about $10 billion. It would be sort of a revolving fund, some grants, some loans, for all infrastructure, not just transportation. And the third idea is the Wyden approach, which is sort of a Build America bond approach for transportation. So now that I have this picture, I'm going to show it to you. If you look at all these dots of people, 20 stadiums full, you would see how many unemployed construction workers there are, millions. And this is an unsustainable situation. In introducing Congressman Mica, let me say that he was so gracious to me, came out to Los Angeles. He heard from the community. We're working as closely as we can in a bicameral way to have a good bill that utilizes the funding we have, but figures out a way to leverage the funding. So with that, I will turn it over to him. I know he has a pressing engagement at the Rules Committee over on the House side. So
well, thank you, Senator Boxer.
Welcome.
Stay right close to me here.
Okay, I will.
First I have to congratulate you to get this many press and people out on my side of the aisle. Somebody would have to be indicted.
Oh, God.
But
no problems here today. We're okay.
But what we don't want is an indictment. What we want is a confirmation of a bipartisan, bicameral effort. We started that in Los Angeles. We'd agreed to move forward together. She has important responsibilities here in the Senate and oversees this legislation. And, you know, this is an honest effort. We have millions of Americans, not just that stadium, that losing their homes, they're losing their livelihoods, and so much could be put right if we can get this, if Congress can get this right. People will be so much better off. What you have here, you have combination of business, Mr. Donohue, Mr. Trumka, head of AFL-CIO. You have a Democrat mayor from Los Angeles. You have a Republican mayor from Mesa, Arizona, and you have a bipartisan effort here and bicameral effort. We've got to get this done, and this is perfect timing. I have to give you credit because we're about to finish our legislation hearings in the House. I just came from some today. We opened it up across the country. We traveled from one end to the other. We heard some great ideas. And actually, one of the ones we heard in Los Angeles and everywhere was that people wanted us to get things done faster, cheaper, or at less cost to the taxpayers, and see people working and projects done. And this America Fast Forward is, again, a bipartisan business, labor, cities of small size and bigger size all getting together. So I thank you for this initiative and this effort. I don't want to get into any specifics about what we'll have in the House bill. I promise to buy beer and pizza after this week when we finish our hearings. And then in Los Angeles, the senator had suggested fruit smoothies. Yes. So we're going to buy beer, pizza, and fruit smoothies, sit down, and try to hammer out the differences in a bipartisan manner to go forward. Now, we're a little ways from that. We've got to finish it in the House. The Senate's going to finish theirs. But then work together in this common goal. And I think the senator has set forth, and you hear from others, we've got to find creative ways to finance. The country's broke. We're borrowing $43 for every $100 that we're spending. So they have some innovative proposals. We've got programs like TIFIA. We've already talked about, and I can't tell you how it'll all turn out, but we know it works. We can make it work better. We can expand it. We've got other programs, and I'm not going to get into those. I did that and rocked a bond market one time, so I've stopped doing that, Senator. But we will look at programs that don't work, that cost the taxpayers too much money. We'll revise them and find a way to do more with less and get them going. The final thing is the process. We heard in Los Angeles. I heard it in the last hearing that I just held outside of Philadelphia in Valley Forge, you know, where they started actually saved the country's independence, but we can speed the process up. I've offered a 437-day plan, which is to move things up without harming the environment, without stepping over any opportunity for the public to be heard. But we can do these things. If we could restore that bridge that collapsed over the Mississippi River between St. Paul and Minneapolis in 437 days, if they could restore quake-ravaged freeways in California, we can do this in some existing footprints and do it quicker, faster, cheaper, and we'll achieve America's Fast Forward proposal that's been brought forth today. Thank you so much. I hate to speak and run, but we do have a little thing like the FAA bill. And I also have these new rules in the House. I have to be there, both on the floor and for presentation, since I'm the sponsor. And again, I thank you, and I thank all of the participants, and we'll be with you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. And our next speaker is Tom Donohue, President and CEO of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Tom?
Well, thank you very much, Chairman Boxer and everyone else that's here. You do really draw them out.
I know.
Pretty good.
They came for you.
Well, they came to see Rich and Tom's show, you know. But, and we're the odd couple. We're all over the place, but we have found common cause on this issue of infrastructure. We're absolutely committed, recognizing we're not going to be building a lot of housing in the near future. Some, we're making progress, but we could put a lot of people to work doing a lot of infrastructure. I'm here because of a deeply held conviction by the Chamber that to be competitive in a global market, to put people back to work, we have got to go out and put a great infusion of energy and money into our infrastructure and create the jobs that America needs. And without targeted increases in investment, and this is a very good one, we're not going to get there. You know, we do this transportation performance index that we're refining, and it basically measures what you're doing on infrastructure and tells you what's going to happen in the GDP. And we're standing to lose more than $300 billion in GDP by 2015 if we don't really get going on the infrastructure. And how do you turn that around? That's a lot of jobs. There's a lot of money in the private sector, global pension funds. I was just in China, and of course they complained about a lot of things, and they didn't know what to invest in here. And I said, how about our infrastructure? And the guy said, if I could get a 6% return, I said, try 4.5. You know, maybe we'll do something there. So this TIFIA issue that the mayor has so thoughtfully figured out how to put together, he's building a coalition. He has lots of other mayors around the country doing that. It's a big bang for the budgetary buck. You put in $1 of federal resources, and it leverages $10 in investment and $30 when other sources of funding and financing are added up. It really comes down, this is a no-brainer. It doesn't matter whether you're Republicans or Democrats or, you know, wherever you come on this, this just makes a lot of sense. We've got a lot of need here. We've got business and labor working on it. I just want to say that, we're going to skip forward here. We want to get to the questions. I just want to say, I will continue to repeat a refrain that I know is not picking up a lot of strength now, but we need a new highway bill, but it has been 17 years since we raised the federal fuel tax, and in that period of time, we've more than doubled the miles per gallon and added lots of cars and trucks to the highway, which translated means you're spending less than half of what you did before to upgrade, maintain, and keep the highway going. Maybe it can't be done now, but we better damn well start thinking about it, because that's the way you're going to make this work. And let me simply say to the mayor and everyone else, we're in this deal because we think when you put it together, we were here, we had a deal the other day with Senator Kerry, you put it together with that, you put it together with a highway bill, you start to get somewhere. Right. And I'll tell you, there are a lot of people around the country that are looking for work, and they're looking for work, the hardest work to find, in the construction area and so on. We could put them to work for a long time. If we ask them what they think about it, they think it's pretty damn good. And Mayor, why don't you come up here and tell them how to do it?
Well, thank you.
Good.
Thank you, Tom. Well, first of all, don't worry, I'm not going to read these speeches.
You never read your speeches.
I want to thank you, Tom Donohue, with the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, and Richard Trumka, the president and head of the AFL-CIO. This is not just a bipartisan, bicameral effort. It's labor and business. We now have 105 mayors that have gotten behind America's Fast Forward. And they have because everybody across the country understands a couple of things. One, we're still suffering one of the highest unemployment rates in decades here in this great country. And for every one of us, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, when our constituents ask us, what are you doing to create jobs? We understand that jobs in the economy are issue number 1, 2, and 3. It's jobs, jobs, jobs. And when you think about what this proposal could do, create almost 1 million jobs in the next couple of years, in an industry that currently has about a 30% unemployment rate when you look at construction across the country. At a time when the American Society of Civil Engineers says that we have a $2.2 trillion need in the next 5 years, when America's not keeping up with China and Western Europe, not to mention many of the developing countries of the world, at a time of high deficits and debt, innovative financing tools that allow you to leverage 30-to-1 that really don't require a lot of money from the federal government at a time of high deficits and debts, but will incentivize localities, Los Angeles, California, Mesa, Arizona, and cities all across the country to put up their own money, to accelerate current projects, to incentivize those localities to put up their money to create jobs and to address infrastructure. You know, in LA alone, this would double the size of the rail system, create 166,000 jobs, increase transit boardings by 77 million, save 10 million gallons of gas, and importantly, reduce carbon emissions by 500,000 pounds a year. Take that across the country, and you're talking about a game changer. And so at a time when we're still debating whether or not we're going to do this reauthorization, when some are still questioning whether we should increase the gas tax or not, this is a great opportunity to get bipartisan support, to get business and labor around what we agree on. We got to put America back to work. We've got to invest in infrastructure. We've got to leverage private capital and do that in a way that leverages jobs. So again, to Senator Boxer, to Chairman Mica. By the way, Senator Imhoff has also said, and I'll be meeting with him tomorrow, that he wants to dramatically increase the TIFIA program. He said that in a letter at a hearing where I spoke with you, I guess, a year ago, Senator Boxer. And so with Senator Wyden's proposal for a bond program with the infrastructure bank, by the way, the infrastructure bank proposal, Congressmember DeLauro said that this program, 3010, but now America Fast Forward, was a poster child for an infrastructure bank. These are the kinds of things we want to incentivize around the country. I want to thank all of the Los Angeles people who are here who've helped to get this support. And again, let me turn it over to the mayor of Mesa. Yes.
Richard? I think
Yeah.
Richard is
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me turn it over to the president of the AFL-CIO, Richard Trumka.
Thank you. Well, we're pretty interchangeable, as it turns out. Let me say it's great to be here with all of you today as we kick off the America Fast Forward campaign, because all across the country, whether unemployed or underemployed, tens of millions of workers right now are hurting terribly. And all across the country, our communities are desperate for the public investment that we must have to be competitive in the 21st century. And all across the country, business and labor agree that we must invest in our future. What our workers and communities and business need is leadership right here in Washington to partner with our communities, and that's what America's Fast Forward is all about. See, we're in danger of losing our future. You heard from the mayor that we have a $2.2 trillion 20th century infrastructure deficit, and we still need to invest $2 trillion more in the high-tech infrastructure of the 21st century to secure an economic future for our country. Too many roads, too many bridges, too many schools are literally falling apart right now, and too many opportunities are simply being lost. Meanwhile, countries like China and India and Germany are investing in infrastructure, green technology, and high-speed rail. And their infrastructure investment rates are double ours or more, at least that. See, we can't afford to delay not one day longer. Infrastructure investment means national competitiveness. It will help revive manufacturing. It means jobs, and the millions without jobs simply can't wait a day longer either. Our children will ultimately pay the price for our failure. So it's time to choose long-term economic security and to maintain America's place in the world and not embrace decline. I'm proud to be part of the broad alliance that's represented here today. Whether Democrat or Republican, labor or business, we all understand that creating jobs and investing in our future transcends politics, business as usual. And I was here just a few weeks ago with Tom to talk about the BUILD Act. Working people desperately need initiatives like these that take our country in the right direction, the fast forward direction. So by creating creative ways to utilize scarce federal resources, we can rebuild our country's infrastructure and we can get people back to work. The labor movement in communities across the country is working together with business and government to plan for the infrastructure that their communities need. And America Fast Forward is all about the federal government stepping up to do its part in alliance with America's community. So leveraging private capital to create jobs, supporting Main Street American manufacturing, and empowering local communities is exactly the approach that we need. And it's time to get in fast forward. Thank you.
Mayor Smith.
Good afternoon. I'm Mayor Scott Smith from Mesa, Arizona. Just a little bit. Mesa is in the Phoenix metro area. It is the 38th largest city in the country, about 450,000 people. I am pleased to be involved in this event of biblical proportions. We have Democrats, Republicans, House, Senate, Labor, business, lambs, lions, cats, dogs, lying down together. But there's no apocalypse on the horizon. We're doing it because there's a new dawn. From the Erie Canal to the interstate highway system, America has built its economy on infrastructure. It has been the driving force that has made us the greatest economy ever. And we're falling behind. We recognize the realities of our current situation. We recognize the challenges, the financial challenges, because those challenges exist at all levels. We also recognize that notwithstanding those challenges, we have to continue to invest in infrastructure, both for the short term and for the long term. Our people need to work, and our economy needs to continue to grow. We need innovative new approaches. We need expansion of existing relationships. And what America Fast Forward represents and what Mayor Villaraigosa has started in Los Angeles applies across the country is an innovative approach that really redefines in many ways the relationship between our communities and our federal government in a way that recognizes the realities of our current financial situation. And it helps us to leverage investment and open up capital markets that otherwise would not be available to make the kind of infrastructure investments that we need to make to put our people to work and to grow our economy, not only in the short term, but for the long term. I think the reason why you have this bipartisan, and that's really an understatement, is that America has always built things together. We've always grown our country together, and we will continue to do this together. And I think that it's one of the most important things we will do, not only for our generation, but for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. That was so well said.